provides a clean, quiet environment so you can enjoy your time together.
For more information, call 861-0011.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 6 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Let's see. This morning, I responded to a Facebook question at just about 5 o'clock this morning. And then I got a response, what are you doing up at 5 o'clock? Well, I get up every day at 3 o'clock.
Yes, you do.
When I get up. So I'm already up because we start a show at 7 o'clock, and I have to do show prep. There's a lot of stuff that people don't realize that I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. And that explains why at 2 p.m., both of us are usually ready to say, oh, my God, I am so tired. Can't keep my eyes open. And yet, when I was reading the report from the doctor who we're about to speak to, I don't know if he's a doctor, but anyways, James LaValle, I'm thinking, well, maybe it's not just that. Maybe it's because, okay, you know what I like? Kaiser rolls. Mm-hmm. You know what I like? I like bagels. You know what I like? I like pizza with, like, thick crust.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe that's part of the reason, too. And even though this is going to be a topic addressing women, Robin.
Yes.
Hold on a second, because you're sick right now, right?
Yeah.
It says, if you ignore, this is a quote from James LaValle, if you ignore the stress in your life and don't put a plan together to minimize it, eventually it will play a role in a life-threatening illness. So you got to pay attention here.
I believe this, too. I believe that statement wholeheartedly.
Both men and women are susceptible to the effects of chronic stress, but women especially, he says, seem to suffer greater consequences. Mm-hmm. Doctor, I don't know if I call him doctor, nutritionist James B. LaValle is on the phone. He's America's wellness expert. He's been with us before. He's a clinical pharmacist. I hope he didn't mind the long intro. Conquering the Superwoman syndrome. Good morning, James. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How you doing?
Good. See, to me, I call you doctor because it seems like you're a doctor, but is that appropriate or no?
Yeah, I've got a doctorate. But
oh, good.
I like James. It works good.
I know, but I want you to talk to Robin as a doctor. Where are you right now? Where are you?
I am in Mission Viejo, California.
Oh, my gosh. Well, thank you for getting up early to be with us.
Hey, I'm like you. I've been up for 3 hours already, man. I mean, I got things to do in the morning.
Well, that's it. And you know what? I'm a morning person by nature. I don't know that I would normally get up at 3 o'clock. Like when I retire, right. I don't think I'll still be getting up at 3 o'clock. It'll be more like 5 maybe, but I don't. It just feels normal for me. So okay, so I was asking you, not asking, but I was in the intro. I was implying that I get up early, and that's why we're tired early in the afternoon. And this is true for Robin too. I'm not the only one doing this. But I also have a habit of I love Kaiser rolls. I don't know where that comes from. It comes from my childhood, I think. So that's a big hunk of bread.
Genetic.
That's a big hunk of bread right there.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, but people, when their brain is kind of overstimulated from stress, you want sweet, starchy, carby, lovey foods, right? Things that you could rub on your head that feel so good.
Yeah,
it's
true.
Like, I'm not just eating them, I'm dropping them in the little slit in my head like a piggy bank, It's, people, it's like I said, people don't go in and no cupcake stores are closing down, guys, and I don't see any broccoli stores opening up.
Really.
The bottom line is when we're under chronic stress, we're going to eat more starch. When we're under chronic stress, that spike in blood sugar ends up causing you to be lethargic. And women tend to be a little more prone to the stress response, meaning that their brains are wired that they have more of the what's called the sympathetic nervous system response. The fight or flight syndrome actually happens in their brain more, and that leads to stuff like anxiety and depression. And then the starch cravings hit.
So okay. I mean, we have this stereotype of women. I don't know if it's from movies or books that women are more emotional. I guess question one, is that true? And question number two, is it in part to be blamed on the stress and the diet?
Well, I think that genetically, I'm going to give you guys something groundbreaking this morning. Men and women think differently.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we
Oh,
do.
We
that's-
know that.
Yeah, that's easy to see.
Right?
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
do.
That's an easy one, right?
That's an easy one.
groundbreaking. But the reality is, we know that the way our brains are wired are actually different. So women process emotion differently than men. Yes, I think there's the other piece that we know that women get more comfort from the comfort of other women, like in a sisterhood, than what men tend to do. And that's that whole piece of trying to be thankful and trying to be grateful and trying to have a sense of community. And maybe that's something that's generational. When you think of it traditionally, women were closer to the home. They were managing a house and all that kind of stuff. But there's something that's going on in the hot wiring of the nervous system that's saying, you know what? When women get put under stress, they hit the cortisol button, and that cortisol that floods into your system causes more adrenaline to be released, and it can end up creating more anxiety and panic. And oh, by the way, if you look at prescription drug habits, a lot more women are on anti-anxiety drugs and a lot more women are on antidepressant drugs than what men are. And we could say it's because they're dealing with men, but the right?
It seems though that men go more with the flow, because I saw a statement the other day and got real aggravated by it, and Larry saw that statement and he said, don't worry about it, just let it go. It's like, he's a man, I'm a woman, and I was affected more so by that statement than he was.
Yeah, and I think it's okay for us to have these differences. My biggest concern is I'm in practice every day. 80% of my practice is women coming in. They're moms, they're executives, they're women struggling with weight, they're women struggling with mood. They're struggling with chronic EI problems, and a lot of that stuff is all centered around what happens when you get under stress. One of the biggest things I've got to teach women how to do in order to help them manage their weight, because I got to tell you, it's one of the big areas where women start to lose self-esteem, is when they start to gain weight. And I know it's a big thing, right? It's like,
So it's a snowball.
Season coming.
Right?
It really is.
It's a snowball. I mean, if you get stressed out and then you eat starchy foods, and then that causes you to get depressed, and then you get heavy. I mean, then you get more depressed. So there's a big snowball happening there.
I can tell you what. One of my dearest friends, his wife used to tell me that every day at 3:00, her kids would come home. So every day at 2:30, she went to the ice cream shop and she medicated with a double hot fudge sundae to get herself ready for when her kids came home. And this is a true story, that the food became her medicine.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it is snowballing, because when those blood sugars start to go up, that's the number one thing that's associated with the development of heart disease. Blood sugars spiking after you eat.
Really?
And then the other thing is, people don't realize that. Everybody thinks it's weight gain, which is true. You gain weight because people are eating too many starches and sugars. But then you don't realize that when you eat those foods, it causes your arteries to plaque. It's not about eating fat. It's about the fact you eat too much starch and sugar that spikes your blood sugar, causes your arteries to plaque. And by the way, more women die of heart disease postmenopausally than men.
Really?
And the starch and sugars are really easy to eat, because you go to a convenience store and you buy something that's already made and all that. You don't have to do anything with it except stuff it in your mouth.
Well, here's the thing. Go to the grocery store. When you walk down the grocery store aisle and you go down the chip aisle, people are sitting there staring at which chip am I going to get.
I've seen that. I've done that.
Man, I'm one of them.
Right?
Yeah,
and they're hugging. Yeah, they're hugging the bag like, I love you. I never see anyone staring at broccoli like that. I don't know why, but it's not. No one loves the broccoli like they love the chip aisle. And so one of the big things we have to teach, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
I teach people, look, you got to stop worrying about diet, but you do have to learn how to control your carbs. We teach people techniques, how to count your carbs. Probably one of the single biggest things that I recommend people to use is a starch blocker, because when you're under stress, it's easy to say, I'm not going to eat it, but then your brain hits that switch, I'll start my diet tomorrow. So you can use something like phase 2 carb control, which is a really interesting white kidney bean extract, that you take it and it blocks the absorption of starch. About 65% of the starch doesn't go into your bloodstream.
Really?
And that means that really. And actually, there's clinical trials that show that people lose more weight using that than diet alone. And there's actually even some interesting data showing that after you're done using it, it remodels your appetite. I think that's powerful. And what I also think is refreshing about it, it's a dietary supplement people can get that isn't centered around, an appetite suppressant, which they just fail, guys. I mean,
so
appetite suppressants don't work.
Let me ask you something, because you just said something that kind of dovetails with an interview we did 2 days ago with a doctor who talked about a connection between eating lots of carbohydrates and type 2 diabetes. So, So are you saying that if you had a starch blocker, somebody who at risk of type 2 diabetes could still have that Kaiser roll?
I am absolutely saying that if you ate that Kaiser roll and you took a starch blocking agent, it's been proven in human studies that 65% of the blood sugar burden will be reduced by taking that starch blocker. That is correct.
Wow.
And we do this as a strategy with people because people, look, you have an emotional connection to Kaiser roll, like you said, the childhood.
Yeah, right.
Look, I'm Italian. I see pasta, I think grandma. I don't see pasta and think, oh, that's a starch, and I don't know if I should eat the starch. I see pasta and go,
that's right. I do the same thing. I do the same thing with spaghetti. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I take a starch blocking agent, I can still enjoy. I'm going to have to learn how to count my starches still, so I have a reduced portion size. So maybe I eat a half a Kaiser roll instead of a whole Kaiser roll. I take a little bit of a starch blocker, and you know what? I'm losing weight. And that's something that we really think that can work for a lot of people. We've been doing it clinically with people, teaching them how to reduce their starch, but not try to be so fad dietish to eliminate things out of their diet.
Let me ask you something. Does it have to do with percentages? And so here's the way to illustrate my question. Meal number one, a Kaiser roll sandwich with whatever's on it, and like a noodle salad which has lots of mayonnaise in it. Okay, or a Kaiser roll sandwich and like a green salad. Obviously that second choice is going to be preferable. But does the fact that all the carbs added up together, do they counteract each other?
No, there's no counteracting going on, man. When you take in lots of noodles, you're taking in lots of noodles. When you take in the Kaiser roll, you take in the Kaiser roll. What does help is if you take in fats, it helps to suspend some of the amount of starch that's going to get into your bloodstream. You do have to learn how to count your starches. I think the big thing is that we try to teach people, too, to try to take in more of your starch in the evening. So make your breakfast more protein and fat-oriented. And at lunch, maybe you're going to have a big salad, and at dinner, you're going to get those starches in, because it seems like in studies now they're showing that when you eat your starches in the evening, it raises your serotonin pool, you feel more satisfied, you sleep a little better, and you lose weight more efficiently. I'm big on the thing that people are going to wake up in the morning, they're still going to go to the cupcake shop and get a bagel. They're going to go to a donut shop, they're going to get the bagel. I mean, I can argue against that all I want. But I want them to take starch blockers before they go into that bagel shop, because I've got to be practical about the fact 50% of the U.S. population is now either diabetic or insulin resistant, meaning pre-diabetic. 50% of the adult population. So we have to get practical strategies that are going to work for people, given the fact that everybody's not going to turn into green juice wielding, salad eating, non-Kaiser roll breathing.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. Yeah.
Right?
All right. Let me take a break, and I know that the notes indicate vitamin D, more sleep, having more gratitude. It says here. I was going to ask about exercise as well. So let's do all that on the other side of the break, and we'll be right back with James B. LaValle. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Nice day with sunshine today. High 80 at the coast, 86 inland. Partly cloudy Friday night, lows ranging from about 50 inland to 59 along the coast. Saturday, sunshine and a bit cooler, the high 73 to 77. And on Sunday, partly sunny, high 76 to 80. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
We all know the importance of good health, but we may not know the latest advances in medicine that are available to us. Monday at 9 a.m., Bern Paraiso will be our roving medical reporter to tell us about Seven Hill Gastroenterology PA and Dr. Reddy. We'll discuss screening, techniques, and more. So tune in and listen. This is more than news you can use. It's news that could save your life. That's Monday at 9:05 a.m.
Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion brings together business and community partners, economic development leaders, and educational providers to connect employers with qualified, skilled talent and job seekers with employment and career development opportunities. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 a.m. to Career Source, Citrus, Levy, Marion, and learn how they can help you.
That was the sound of a tree falling. It could be your tree. You're going to have it trimmed, but never got around to calling Pride Tree Service. It could have fallen in a field, and now all you have to do is call Pride Tree Service, and they'll have it quickly out of the way for a great price. But don't wait until the tree falls. It may not fall in the field. It may hit your car, your house, or worse. So call Pride Tree Service today and avoid all those headaches before they happen. Pride Tree Service, 840-0750. That's 840-0750.
All right, 22 minutes after 11 o'clock. I've got so many questions for Dr. James LaValle. Doctor, we're back on the air now again. And I know you said call you James, so I will, but I wanted the listeners who just tuned in to know that you're a doctor.
Good.
So the main focus today was on stress, and specifically stress as it relates to women, because women sometimes will push themselves too far, and Robin is a perfect example of this.
Yes.
All right. So does
All right.
So what role does exercise and you know what? There was a story just the other day that said that women need more sleep than men because you're more complex than us.
I'll tell you what, exercise is super important. I do a lot of work in the fitness industry, developing programs, and the big thing that I think people have to understand is moderate exercise is how you balance off stress. When you go in and you train hard every day, like some people I'm going to go to Zumba Pilates class, and I'm going to go to a spinning class, then I'm going to lift weights.
Yeah, right.
Then I'm going to go do it. That actually is going to work against you. You kind of want to, have a more moderate approach to your exercise. So exercise is really good for offloading stress. I try to tell people keep it down under an hour, and then keep it around an hour, and then also look at your pulse rate. You got to look at your resting morning heart rate. Resting morning heart rate is a great indicator as to whether or not you're over exercising or not. If your resting heart rate starts going up in the morning, it means you're training too much and you should cut back. If it's staying low, it means you're training just right. And sleep is probably the single most important thing that people can do to help them to age gracefully. I mean, it is so evident in the research that when you sleep less than 7 to 9 hours a night, basically your brain doesn't get the repair. You can't fill back up all the little neurochemical buckets that you're supposed to refill to get ready to be alert for the next day instead of having Jello brain, which is a common thing I ask people when they come in. I said, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, do you feel like you're pushing a thought through Jello?
That's what I got.
Go, oh my God, that's me, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I can relate to that.
Yeah, it's a man thing too. It's not just women, but it's because 60% of the U.S. population will have trouble sleeping, and many women will report that they only get a good night's sleep 2 or 3 nights a week. And what most women don't understand when I'm explaining this in clinic to them is that sleep problems occur because your brain gets too awake during the day, meaning you take on so many stressors during the day that your brain can't shut off at night. And so it's what techniques, you're going to have a busy day no matter what, but I'm going to have to stop and maybe do some deep breathing a couple times a day. Maybe I've got to, kind of distract myself, walk away from the computer. How do I start to calm myself down? And if that's not working, there things that I can do. Can I drink some chamomile tea? Can I take some theanine, which is an extract from green tea? It's been shown to reduce stress. What is it during the day that'll help me to maintain more calm, that will allow my brain to be able to sleep at night? And super important because people think, I just have to take a sleeping pill, which sometimes that works. But a lot of times it's not doing what it was purported to do.
Yeah, and that can be dangerous too, right? Taking sleeping pills.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people, look, you really got to try stuff like, I like melatonin a lot. Your body, makes cortisol in the day and melatonin at night. And when you make too much cortisol at night, you don't make any melatonin. And so, supporting with a little bit of melatonin a lot of times can help people. But the first strategy is manage your stress during the day to try to help get you to overcome that threshold of sleep at night.
And I think people need to take a deep look within themselves and find out exactly what the problem is instead of just putting on a Band-Aid, like you said, sleeping pills, or else they're never going to be happy or healthy.
I could not agree with you more. I mean, I honestly, we spend a tremendous amount of time educating people on sleep quality, and it all comes back to what's driving your anxiety. What's driving your distress. A lot of times it's family stuff. I mean, people aren't coping with family situations, and they got to deal with that, right?
Yeah.
And then there's simple stuff you can do too, right? I mean, I try to tell people. I mean, you're in Florida, but I got to tell you, I check people's vitamin D levels in Florida all the time.
Really?
And they're. Oh yeah, I do. No, I just did a basketball team, college basketball team in Florida. 14 out of 16 of those young men had low vitamin D levels.
Wow.
Isn't that something? I would never have guessed that.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you know what? You guys you're indoors a lot during the hot sun, right? I mean, you got air conditioning running. You're not necessarily outside.
We have a nudist camp in Orlando, and that was what their ad said. Their ad said, "Come visit us and improve your vitamin D, increase your something like that." Remember that one?
Yes, I do.
When you do a radio show, you have to know these things.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, you better bring sunscreen for that, though. I'm just saying, there may be some areas that need sunscreen.
Oh, that's a good question. Does sunscreen prevent you from absorbing vitamin D from the sun?
Yes.
Oh, it does.
Oh.
So you really have to go out there without it.
Well, at least for 15 to 30 minutes, and that doesn't guarantee you're going to get enough conversion. So, I mean, honestly, get your vitamin D levels checked. You can get them checked in your own home. You can go to, I think, grassrootshealth.org. It's a not-for-profit thing. You can get a vitamin D kit for at home. I actually am on the scientific advisory board for an international data collection on vitamin D. 12,000 people across several countries we're measuring. That's the Natural and Organic Health Association. So we're really looking at vitamin D because vitamin D is associated with mood. It's associated with weight gain. It's associated with breast cancer. It's associated with, in women, preterm pregnancy issues.
Wow.
And people don't realize how important vitamin D is. So I really, either get your doctor to check it or get it checked in the comfort of your own home, but get it done. So important.
Always so great. An informative visit with you, James. Thank you for being on the air with us today. Let's leave the audience with a website. And do you have one?
Yeah, they could just go to JimLaValle.com. They could get a free carb counter, help them get some weight off coming for the summer months, and there's a lot of other information up there for them that they can enjoy.
All right, we'll make sure that website is associated with this podcast, what we're doing right now, the video. So it's Jim, not James, right? Jim LaValle, LaValle.com, and we'll put this up on Facebook and YouTube before 2 o'clock today. Thank you so much for being on the air with us today, Jim.
Thank you.
That was fun. We'll take a little break. Yeah. We'll be right back.